Yeah, so I come from a family where my parents were married. There are six children, so we were really. And I'm a triplet also, so I have two other brothers who look just like me, right? And so we're really big on family connection. And out of my six siblings, um, they all got married. Like I was the last one to actually get married out of
Lovely.
the bunch. And I think I took my time really trying to find a partner because I think the journey for love for gay men typically is later in life, like in their 30s. Most heterosexual people try to get married in their 20s.
Yes.
And for me, I was like, no, I still want to kind of like explore the world, travel, figure out who I am, figure out my sexuality, like what do I want in a relationship. So I dated. When I say I dated a whole bunch, the little black book, if you know what a little black book is,
Yeah, the little
like
black book was full of names, numbers, receipts, everything.
everything. Yes.
Welcome to the Queer Quest podcast, your beacon of light and sprinkle of glitter in the queer community. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for queer individuals. And together, we're embarking on a journey of transformation. Each week, we bring you a new training topic or connect you with visionary queer leaders in healing and coaching. Diving deep into conversations that inspire growth, celebrate diversity, and empower you to live authentically. So wherever you are, settle in and let's get ready to unlock the vibrant potential within. This is where your quest begins. Hello, all you fabulous souls, and welcome to another episode of the Queer Quest podcast. I'm your host, Cristiano Green, the CEO and founder of Queer Quest and a transformation coach for the queer community. And I'm super excited about today's episode because we have a legend out there in the community, the gay dating coach, Lamont White. How are you?
I am doing absolutely fabulous. How you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Well, it's the morning for me, the night for you, because we are in different stages and places in the world. And that's what I love about
Yeah.
social media and seeing other people out there doing similar work is that people are doing stuff all around the world to help people in this beautiful LGBT community.
Yes, and I think things are not different on your side of the world than it is over here. It's about the same.
Yeah, we've still got the same kinds of struggles, same kinds of things that people are going through. And of course, helping people online means that you help people from all over the world anyway. And it makes you realize that struggles that we've gone through ourselves and the struggles that we see our brothers and sisters and in betweens going through, we know it's not a singular, isolated issue.
No, no, not unique. We're not unique at all.
Totally. Well, I'd love to start by, talking a bit about your own journey of finding love. I know that you're happily married. Congratulations. I think it's about 3 or 4 years now, right?
Thank you, thank you. Yes, so I've been with my husband for now 4 years. Let me make sure I get the math right. He will kill me, right? So 4 years. We've been together for 10 years,
Wow.
but Cristiano, I've known him since I was 25. So like
Wow.
we were associates, friends a little bit for a very long time. And then just like one day I looked at him a little differently, like,
Okay.
oh, he's kind of cute. And we started dating. Yeah.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
then I guess before you found him and had that, what was your experiences like with love, finding it? Like, what
Ooh,
did you
yeah.
struggle with? What was the ups and the downs that you had?
Yeah, so I come from a family where my parents were married. There are six children, so we were really. And I'm a triplet also, so I have two other brothers who look
Okay.
just like me, right? And so we're really big on family connection. And out of my six siblings, um, they all got married. Like I was the last one to actually get married out of
Lovely.
the bunch. And I think I took my time really trying to find a partner because I think the journey for love for gay men typically is later in life, like in their 30s. Most heterosexual people try to get married in their 20s.
Yes.
And for me, I was like, no, I still want to kind of like explore the world, travel, figure out who I am, figure out my sexuality, like what do I want in a relationship. So I dated. When I say I dated a whole bunch, the little black book, if you know what a little black book is,
Yeah, the
like
little black book was full of names, numbers, receipts, everything.
everything. Yes, and there's no shame about it. And that's why I really just wanted to figure out like um what is compatibility for me. And also I did not want to get into a relationship just because society said I had to, or
Everyone
because I was
in the
bored or
family.
lonely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I'll be transparent with you. So, my husband, like, we didn't initially start out like the traditional way. He was literally like my weekly hookup.
Okay.
Like, it was not like let's go out to dinner. No, he literally came over the house. We eat, drink, we would hook up. We did that for a few months, and then one night I just kind of looked at him and was like, hey, no, it was him. He was like, do you want to go get something to eat, like out of the house? Like, I was like, okay, this is weird. I thought like I had like right. I thought I like isolated him to like just hookup status, and I guess we saw something more in each other that we wanted to progress to the dating phase. And after like 4 or 5 months of dating, we moved in together.
Okay.
Like moved in together, and maybe about like 3 years later, we bought a house together. We actually sad story, but beautiful story at the end.
Yeah.
His sister passed away,
Oh,
and we took custody of her two children. And at the time, they were in middle school.
okay.
So we had to hurry up and buy a house, move both the boys into the house, and we've had them since they were in middle school. And now they are both have 1 year left in college. So it's like a whole journey.
I
Yes.
love the happy ending of that because I think it's important that sometimes just you don't know what's going to happen in life, and you
Hmm.
either ride the wave and follow what feels right for you guys, or you run away, which is what a lot of people can do as well in those
Right.
situations.
Look, you're spot on, because one of the things, because we didn't get married until after we took custody of the children. And
Yeah,
one of the things my partners, said to me, and we talked about it, he was like, in his time of need, I stepped up. I didn't run away.
I
There are
love
a lot of guys, because we were just dating, a lot of guys could have said, hey, that's your problem, you take care of it. But he was like, no,
that.
you stood there, you showed up to the family, like you stepped in to be a parent to both of our nephews now. And I think that's the testament of just navigating life, going with the waves, as you say, and just making things work.
And that's the beautiful thing, as we said, like you made it work.
Yeah.
So when you're going along this journey and this path and these things came up, what was coming up for you? Because as you said, so many people could have done the runaway thing, and you
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously stepped up and basically ran towards it. What was it
Mhm.
about him and about this relationship that made you really just feel like I'm going to lean all the way in?
Yeah. I think beyond being in love, um, I wanted to make sure that he was happy. Like, I think a lot of people get into relationships because of what the other person can do for them, like what he can do for me.
Yeah.
But I said, no, this is a time for me to be supportive. It's a time for me to make sure that things are as easy as possible during a time of bereavement, right? It's not easy, it's hard, right? Imagine three men going through grief, moving into a house together,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And for
Definitely. They
me,
lost their parents. He's lost his sister. It's heartbreaking. Yeah.
yes, yes. So for me, it was for me to demonstrate my love and my commitment of showing up in the relationship, and that no matter how bad things can get or difficult, let me say difficult, not bad, but difficult, that I'm there. Like I'm there. Like we are a team, so let's make it work as best as we can.
And there's no other, I guess there's no stronger way to prove your love to someone by stepping up and showing them and being there for not only them but their family who's also struggling and in
Mhm,
need at those difficult times.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
I think I've learned that from seeing the example of my parents being together. There were times where I got to witness the difficult times, the good times, but one of the things that I appreciated about them is that they remain friends, like a team, like lifelong friendship. And that's one of the things that I took from their relationship that I said, once I find my partner, listen, we're gonna be friends forever. Even if like say if the relationship ends, we're still gonna be friends. Like I'm still coming over to the family reunion. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I've got a similar story in relation to, like, my parents have been together for, coming up to 50 years now.
Mhm,
And I only knew a great representation of what a relationship should be. And so
mhm,
I guess I struggled earlier on in my life trying to find a partner because, you know, there are a lot of people out there in the gay community, and I was probably not in my best space when I was younger anyway to find a partner. And so you were looking for someone and trying to replicate what you've seen, but also
mhm,
knowing that you can't replicate love anyway. You've just got to kind of look towards the kind of qualities of love that you want and try to not only try to get it for yourself, but try to actually exemplify that and show that to other people and put that out there
mhm.
because if you want to attract it, you have to kind of be it as well, right?
I totally agree. Yeah, if you want someone to be dependable, then you have to be dependable for them. Like you can't ask for what you don't give. And
Yep,
sometimes you have to give that first for that other person to feel safe to show up for you. And that's when you remove your pride, your ego, and you just become vulnerable with your partner. And that's how you know if this person is your person because it feels so safe. It may feel uncomfortable, which is okay, but
totally.
that's a way that's how you grow together and experience life together.
Yeah, totally. Being able to be vulnerable and raw and honest and then see you at your worst moments emotionally um
Mhm.
allows them to and then both you still love each other or even love each other more because you've gone through it together. Again, that's what relationships are. And I know in the past for myself that when there had been stuff showing up,
Mhm.
I've also been the person to run away because I wasn't in a place to handle
Mhm.
certain situations, and that again showed me that again
Yeah.
it wasn't the right relationship, but also maybe I wasn't ready for a relationship in the past as well.
I couldn't agree with you anymore because when I first met my husband, remember I told you I was 25,
25,
26.
yeah,
I was not ready. Like I say, not ready. And no, I would had I tried to start a relationship with him in my 20s, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. It would
yeah,
not. I was not in the mental state. I was not there financially in my career where I wanted to be. And most men, particularly gay men, we thrive off of accomplishments, right? So if we're not achieving things, then that plays on our self esteem. And we do different things to kind of cope with that. So I feel like
yes,
if you focus on your ability to increase your mental health, challenge yourself, that like radiates attractiveness off of you. So that's why I say like in my 20s, no, I was still trying to figure things out and trying to hustle.
yeah, I get that too. And it's funny how sometimes you can get in the cycle of you've got all these accomplishments but it's still not good enough for you as well. And maybe there's, like you said, when you touched on something, when you work on your mental health, like
Mhm,
you start to radiate those changes. And that's definitely what happened to me because literally I was in this career path. I had a massive team of 300 people, 6-figure things, da. But I just never could find myself in the space where I felt ready mentally. And I was dealing with all this other stuff up
mhm,
here that I'd been
mhm,
kept pushing down and using alcohol and drugs as a way
mhm,
to mask any of that and just be like, yeah, I'm good. And showing, the perfect face to
mhm.
everyone else, but like inside, like bubbling over, like left and right and working on my mental health and actually dealing with those problems
it didn't take long for me to be ready. And then after that, it didn't take me long to find the right person for me. So I want people to think, who are listening out there, that like, where you are now, 6 months, a year down the track, if you do some of the work on the things that you are struggling with, your life can completely change and shift quite quickly and miraculously. And maybe you can touch on that for yourself, when you got to a place of being ready, and how long it took you to find your partner.
Yeah, and so I will tell you that people can tell when, like, your mental state or your ability to be emotionally present is not there. Like, everyone could, like, especially if you are trying to date intentionally, right? Guys are going to look to see how expressive you are. They're going to look to see if you do what you say you're going to do. They're going to look to see like how you actually plan dates, give them calls. Um, and I think during my journey, there were times where I thought I wanted to be in a relationship, but it
Mm.
was like, no, I was just lonely. Like,
Yeah.
I'll raise my hand and say, no, I was lonely. So there are types of guys that I would entertain or be around because I was lonely, knowing damn well that
Damn.
this was not going anywhere, right? Like, this is just something to fulfill something for me. And guys can tell that. And guys are just like, okay, this was cool, but I think I'm going to end this because you're not serious about this. Or they would want to progress to something else. They're like, hey, I want to date you. I want to be in a relationship. And my heart was closed. And I would just be like, I don't know what to do with this. So I would end relationships because I wasn't ready to actually be in a relationship. And it wasn't until a lot of counseling, like therapy,
Yeah.
hard conversations with God, still dealing with my relationship when it comes to like spirituality and sexuality. That took me a while to
Oh
like
yeah.
really navigate that thing of, I see this Bible says this, and these people are saying I'm going to hell, but sir, you made me like this, and I can't change it, right? So it took a lot of time for me to have some uncomfortable conversations, prayer, therapy, for me to accept for who I was. Because if I don't love myself, people can see that energy, and then that's when the leeches, the users start to come around instead of quality guys who are actually trying to find something serious.
Yeah, definitely. And that struggle is really real, no matter if you are someone who's religious or not. Like that whole like, because of what society says and what we've all been through as queer people, we all know
Mhm.
what it's like for people to tell us that we're wrong or that we're going to hell or all of these things. And that stuff
Mhm.
builds up and builds up and builds up until you kind of have to have those deep conversations with yourself and with God or whatever you class out the universe. Like,
Yeah.
think sexuality and spirituality, they're not separate conversations. They're one and the same, right?
They overlap. And one of the things I say, the beautiful thing about being a queer or a gay man or a same gender loving man, however people identify, is that we get to write our own narrative.
Yes.
Like, we get to write our stories because there are stories that are being written about who we are or what we should be. And if you actually just take maybe 6 months of self reflection, just time to spend with yourself and say, this is who I want to be. These are my core values. This is how I want to present myself to the world. These are the habits that I want to develop. You get to do that because a lot of people think you should be something else. So why not just write your own story and lean into that?
Exactly. And you know what? Half the time people are gonna hate you for this or that anyway. Like so let them hate you.
Let them hate you for something that is authentically you and
Correct.
not a mask, and not you pretending to be something or trying to live up to their standards. Let them hate you for being you.
Exactly. And pay them no mind as well. Like unless because they ain't paying your bills, honey.
No, no, no. Even if you're paying my bills, I get to be me.
Exactly right. Exactly right. You can't tell me how to pay them. Mm. Okay, then. And so you mentioned that, like, obviously, you said, like you're coming from a religious background, which I know from a lot of people in America. That's one of the biggest struggles that I found from clients that I've had from
Mhm.
America, and especially from different cultures and backgrounds. How was it for you coming out? Like you said, you have a big family.
Yes,
How
yes, yes.
accepting were they? Like, are you the only, queer person in the family? Like, were you lucky to have someone else there that like paved the way?
So it probably could be a reality TV show, Christiana. I tell you, it could be. Like, so I knew that I was attracted to guys way back in like elementary school, like way back then. So I did have a conversation with my mom when I was like in the 5th grade. I was like, hey, I think I like guys and girls, right? And she's like, oh, okay. Like, she gave me a hug. She was like, I still love you. I still embrace you. The funny thing that she said to me, though, I never forget it. She said, I just don't want you to do anything that's going to hurt yourself physically. I'm like, huh? What? Are you telling me not to be a bottom? Is that what you're telling me? Right? Like, and I'm like, how would you know? Have you had anal sex? So we joked about that, right?
Yeah.
But it was a secret between the two of us, just the two of us, until I went off to college and I came out to my triplet brothers. And then I slowly just said, whatever, let me just tell everybody. And through that process, I had family members who stopped talking to me.
Mm,
I had family members and friends who wanted to come over and pray with me. I'm like, I don't need that. I'm okay. But one of the I think unique things is that my triplet brother, I told you I'm a triplet, right?
yeah.
He wanted to like he and I actually stopped talking for about like total communication for about a year and a half
Oh, wow.
because he would say like, "Oh, you need to pray it away," and like he gave me scriptures to read, and I'm like, I really don't need those. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I did was I said, you can have a gay brother, or you can have no brother at all. So
Yeah.
we took time to give him space. And at my wedding, he was there and he actually emceed my reception.
Oh,
So go from someone who was like totally against it to who is like fully embracing and loving. And I think that is the journey that I tell people like when you're coming out of the closet, you need time to accept yourself. So it's okay to give your family members, your friends, time to accept and understand and ask questions and just sit in it for a while. I think we rush to make them accept and understand,
yeah, you're
but
right.
it is a journey and sometimes it just takes some time.
Especially when, like I said, people have been indoctrinated or taught to follow a certain belief system. You can't just change
Yes.
people's belief systems overnight. It takes people, like you said, having like we have our own internal dialogue about who we are and getting to a place of acceptance. And for us, it takes us, most people take 5-10 years to get to a place
Yes.
of being able to come out of the closet, right? Like you said, you knew early on, but it was when you went to college. Similar for
Mhm.
me, like I think it was around 12, 13, and then 21 was when I came out, because we have to go through that acceptance before we even feel like we can tell somebody else. So
Mhm.
you're very much correct that it will take people time, and there'll be some people who may never get it, but at the end of the day, the ones that really love you and want you in their life
Yeah.
do it unconditionally, and they show that to you,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm a realist, and like there are like people who will literally disown you or fire you from a job, or they want to physically harm you because you come out of the closet. So I totally understand that that still happens today in different cities and
It
neighborhoods.
does.
So it is a reality that still exists. So I get and understand why it's hard for some people to come out of the closet. So I say, if it's worth investing, move, um, build your own community, build your own tribe of friends, so that you have people that support who you are.
Definitely, and try to build that prior to maybe going through the experiences of coming out to people that you're not sure about, so that you do
Mhm.
have that support system when it doesn't go the way that you may want it to go, because
Yeah.
it probably will never go the way that you want it to go, because That's just life, right? Not everyone will have the same reaction or say the right thing, even if they are trying to be supportive. Like you said, you can latch on to one or two things that someone says, even though the overarching thing that they're trying to say is be supportive, but they might have said one thing, and you can hold that on. And we got to learn to take everything with a grain of salt and try to get the actual deeper message that they're trying to share with us as well.
And it's okay, like it's okay to end certain relationships,
Yeah.
even if they are family members. I think we have been taught that we're supposed to be, in relationship with people for the rest of our lives. Some people are only meant to be there for a small period of time. You evolve. Doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean you're bad. It was just meant for you all to have that space and time, and then you move on and keep evolving.
Yeah. You grow in different directions sometimes. That is life. That's trees. That's the whole universe, right? We don't like, leaves fall off of trees and never turn back to where they come from. They turn into a whole new tree, right? So,
Impossible, right?
yeah, exactly. So we can't all expect that every single person we meet along the journey is going to be with us for the entire journey because we would have no time for ourselves if that was the case.
Oh, there's too many people. There's too many people.
I'm happy to clutter some of those people out the door.
In a world where every journey is unique, one path shines brightly for the queer community. Introducing QueerQuest, the first of its kind personal development platform designed exclusively for us, by us. At QueerQuest, we understand the multifaceted journey of queer identity. That's why we've created a space where you can explore, learn, and grow with the guidance of queer experts from around the globe. Whether you're seeking to enhance your physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being, QueerQuest is your gateway to transformation. Imagine embarking on quests tailored to your journey of self-discovery, finding community, and unlocking your queer excellence. QueerQuest offers online courses, coaching programs, and soon workshops, seminars, retreats, and festivals, all designed to empower you to live your best life. Ready to start your adventure? Join us at www.queerquest.vip to become part of a movement towards personal and collective greatness. Sign up today to join the waitlist and be the first to know when we launch. QueerQuest, where your journey of self-discovery and transformation begins. Don't just dream of a life filled with pride and purpose, make it your reality with QueerQuest. Visit www.queerquest.vip now. Your quest awaits.
So, like I said, you do a lot of work for a lot of queer people, and I know that you're based in Atlanta, and that's probably where a lot of the stuff that you do. Because I know you do. I see you online, and I see you doing a lot of like local events, and I see that there's you're doing cruises and matchmaking and couples counseling. So, I'd love for you to share what from your experiences. What are some of the major things or the main things that you find that gay men or queer men struggle with when looking for love?
Yeah. So one of the things I tell people, like, I am more than just like a dating coach or matchmaker. I am literally trying to change the culture of our community,
Mm.
right? I know my mission and my purpose here on this earth. And so I work with gay men all over the United States. I even do dating coaching sessions with guys overseas, like in the UK, like all over.
Beautiful.
And I hear a lot of different stories. I hear different situations, challenges. Some of the things that bubble to the top when you talk about like what are most gay men struggling with. One is just really owning who they are.
Yeah.
I think sometimes men, regardless of sexual orientation, but particularly gay men, of when you look in the mirror, do you see what needs to be seen? Do you really see who you are? Instead, our society, Christiana, pushes us to put a mask on.
I was gonna
Like
say mask.
they push gay men to say, you have to live your life like this. So you have to be into fashion. You have to be like, and you're like, wait a minute. Well, what if I like football? Like, well, you're not gay. You're not gay.
Yes.
Or right, or you have to be catty in your interaction with other gay men. You have to throw shade.
It's
Oh, you probably have the best
competition.
shade lines.
Everyone's competing with everyone else.
No, I actually have, intimate, loving conversations with my friends who are gay. So I think it's about like getting to the core of who you are and stop accepting these negative or unrealistic stereotypes of what it means to be a gay man. I think that is one.
I agree
And
with
that
you.
takes
Yeah.
a lot of people a long time to grapple with, and to actually come out of the closet and be accepting of who they are, right? Yeah.
Totally.
So I think that's one. Also, is once guys actually start to want to date and get out there, there are these unrealistic expectations, right? Like someone has to be above 6 feet. They have to make six figures. They have to have this amazing career. They have to have this gym body. They have to court you. They have to do the work to woo you. And I'm like, wait a
They have
minute.
to please you sexually the way that you want it to be done every single time because you're the king, the god, the Lord.
And I'm like, well, when do you show up? And like, when do you do the work? Right. Because I
Yeah.
think well, I don't think, I know for a successful relationship, it's like playing tennis back and forth. You have to show up in a relationship and you have to court the other person. I mean, like, make them feel great. You have to make them smile. You have to flirt with them. You have to be supportive. Um, and that's work. And most men don't want to do the work to actually form a relationship. They go by this motto that, oh, I'm going with the flow, or it should just come natural. No, relationships are hard work. They
Yeah.
should feel like work. If they don't feel like work, you may have to question if you're being authentic in that relationship.
Agree, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. They definitely are a lot of work. And what they show you is also the work that you need to be doing on yourself. Because
Mhm, mhm,
your
mhm,
partner, your relationship is probably going to be your biggest teacher because they're the people that can push your buttons the most, right?
mhm,
Push
mhm,
you to
mhm,
extremes,
mhm.
for sure. And so
Yeah.
you have to be, like I said, willing to do the work. And that's why I think you said that it feels like work because it's not just working on the relationship, it's working on yourself so that you can show up better in that relationship as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so what I'm part of my wedding vows that I did with my husband, we did very non-traditional but somewhat traditional wedding. Um, and I said to him, I promise to put me first. I promise to take care of me first. Me. Like, because if I don't take care of me, I can't be the best for you. I
Correct.
also said that I don't promise to obey you as well. Because I feel like our relationship should be built on freedom, and just making sure that we both are the best. Yeah, but like, you got to take care of yourself first.
Definitely, because you can't fill up a bucket with an empty
Mhm,
bucket, you know?
mhm,
So you
mhm.
have to fill your bucket up so that you have something to be able to give to other people as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And whenever I do matchmaking, so guys come to me and they're like, "Hey, can you send me on some dates with some great guys?" They always assume that it's the dating pool. They're like, "Oh, can you just find me a great guy?" And that they don't have to do any work on themselves. And I'm like, no, matchmaking is more like building a car, not buying a car, because I need you to show up in a certain way so that you can sustain this relationship. And your checkbook does not sustain the relationship alone.
100%. Yeah. Money
Yeah.
doesn't buy you happiness.
Yeah.
And it might
Because if
get,
it does, you have an expiration date.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that checkbook's going to bounce very quickly.
Or like, sometimes guys are like, oh, because they have a lot of money, um that they should attract a certain type of look in a younger type of guy. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to get, both of you are going to get traded in at some point.
100%. And that's the thing. Yeah. If it's not built on something that's deeper than that, then it will happen like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything has an expiration date, as you said. Yeah. Okay. And so when it comes down to it, so you, like I said, you've got you do couples counseling as well, right? So you have people who
I
come to
do.
you who are
Mhm,
struggling
mhm,
with their relationships.
mhm, mhm.
Is it similar struggles that you have, or like would you say that they're different now that people have like they're committed to the relationship, but they really just
Mhm.
don't know how to get on the same page?
Yeah. So I see two different scenarios. One is these two people should have never, ever, 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 like ever, ever, ever been in a relationship together,
I was going
right?
to say, I thought you were going to say that.
Like when you talk about compatibility, they both want two different things in the type of a relationship. Like it's okay to be two different types of people, um, as long as you all want the same type of relationship, like the relationship dynamics. You can work through some of that, right? And if at the core there are some, at least some similar core values, but when the core values are like this mismatched and you all want two different types of relationship, but you all are in this fantasy of whatever it is that got you all together and it's 12 months, 2 years later, you're like, why is this not working? Is because you all really are mismatched. And so whenever I see a couple like that, I help them to see that.
See that
That's
themselves.
not first session. It's like, hey, let's uncover like what we want in this relationship and who we are. And then once they see that, they go, I think we need to end this. They're like, we're like, but in a healthy way, right? And I think it's beautiful if you can go through a relationship and see that, hey, we're mismatched. So let's go different ways, right? So I
Totally.
definitely see that in couples. The other thing that I see a lot of the time is when I talk about communication. Communication is like you use different words to explain different things. Just because somebody came from the same cultural background and, neighborhood, whatever, they still can speak two different languages. And communication is ever evolving.
Definitely.
Partners that stay together long term, they're always seeking intentionally to understand their partner better day by day. Like, what has changed about your desires? What about your fears? What about your hopes? Like, what is going on in your head? Good partners start to ask questions. They communicate, like, hey, I know you might have meant this, but you said that. Can we talk about it? Right? Communication is hard.
Oh,
That's the hard work in relationships.
100,000%. And I even look at it from from the people that I help and also my relationship. It's always a miscommunication that causes something bigger. And sometimes it takes you a little while to realize, okay, like what are you getting so upset about when I said this, but you've taken it as this? And that's where the clarity is. And sometimes again in relationships, there's someone who usually likes to communicate more than the other. The other one's like, if we don't talk about it, let's move on, kind of thing. And one person wants to talk about it. That's what I often find as well. And again, as you said, the communication is like if you've got people who are on different communication styles, one wants to talk about it, one doesn't, there can sometimes be this stonewall kind of thing of like, well, no, we need to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. And that builds into a bigger problem as well, right?
You're spot on, and that really means like when you have two couples who are like that, it's totally fine. It
Totally
just
fine.
means that you have to be aware that I know my partner doesn't like to talk a lot, so let me just go walk around the block, and I'll come back and give him some space, and then I'll give him a look like, okay, you ready to talk about it now? I gave you your time. I gave you your time, and then that also means the person that doesn't like to talk a lot has to be like, let me tell you X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Like it's so much effort, and that's why I say being in a relationship, it is work. But for people who are committed and actually want to stay in that relationship, they're going to do that work because they want to sustain that relationship.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. When you see people out in the community, and our community obviously has a big kind of hookup culture. Now, I've noticed this from a lot of people who've come to me looking for a relationship, and they come in looking and they talk about what they want, and their big focus is what they want sexually. And that's the main agenda. I'm sure you probably see this as well.
Yeah.
How do you tell me how you navigate that kind of stuff so that we can, there will be a lot of guys out there listening who are probably thinking that's their main agenda for a relationship is sex, right? Because some people.
So I will say being in a relationship, sex, particularly for gay men, for queer men, sexual attractiveness or sexual roles are a key component of our types of relationships.
Yes.
And I'm okay with embracing that, owning that, and not like caring if people think we're judgmental, because as gay men, again, we get to create our own stories. And for a lot of gay men, being physically attracted to their partner is very important. I'll say that, and that's okay. However, as you age, as you get to be with somebody in a long-term relationship, guess what? Things change. So if your relationship is solely based on physical or sexual compatibility, just understand that there might be an expiration on that type of relationship, because your body may go up, down, things may go lower, your penis may work when you get older, it may not, like the top may switch to be a bottom, the bottom might be the top now. So if you can't navigate that type of relationship, I think you should understand that it's going to expire, or just kind of date and just hook up casually with guys and just let them know that.
Exactly. And know that maybe you might not get you might be not looking for the deeper relationship, and that might be what you want. And that's totally okay. Because again, as queer people, we get to choose the kinds of relationships that we have.
Yeah. 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 You get to do it. But I think one of the things when I looked at some studies, Christiana, like what gay men value, like in a relationship. So you already hit the key one, is attractiveness. And I call it like an acronym of AIMS. So A is for attractiveness. I is for independence. No man wants to take care of another man, right? So gay men like to see that you can sustain yourself. You don't have to be rich, but like they want to see that like you're independent. Like that's attractive. The next thing is M, which is some level of masculinity, right? And that has to do like how confident you are, how you show up, how you're trying to lead in the relationship. There are some gay men who love femme guys, like absolutely love it. So I'm not saying this is an end all be all, but most gay men want some level of masculinity and for you to show some leadership. And then the S is for sexual compatibility. So like who's topping, who's bottoming, if it's an open relationship, if it's an agreement, if it's a monogamous relationship. That's how we kind of navigate our relationships.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And so do you find that a lot of the people who would, I guess, from your experience, I guess people who come to you struggling with, maybe they're in a bad place or relationship or whatever, who have open relationships, what's your kind of assessment of like people doing it for good reasons, or maybe reasons where they're like, I don't want to address an issue and maybe this might fix it, or we can avoid talking about something, right? Because we all know that does happen, right? I'm not like,
yes.
happen quite regularly, but like, I know that there can be both sides of the story. So I'm like, there's no judgment as well, right?
Right. So like there are like heterosexual women who will get pregnant thinking like it's going to save the relationship, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, honey, that's not going to work. You're not a good fit. Same thing with open relationships. Open relationships based on your relationship with sex, how you feel about sex, it's not going to fix your relationship. Correct. There are many benefits though to being in an open relationship. You know, and one of the things I've noticed about people who are in open relationship, it means you have a high level of communication. Like you all talk about any and everything. Like more than people who are in monogamous relationships typically, right? Also, there is a high level of trust because they're trusting that their partner, or they know where they're going, they're communicating things. Also, sexual satisfaction. It's a lot of benefits of being in an open relationship because it allows you to be sexually satisfied, and you don't have to rely on one partner to satisfy you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes there's this negative connotation about being in an open relationship, but it works. It works for some people. If it works for you, great.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it all depends on what you're looking for and what you feel like you're needing in yourself. And this comes back to the point of you saying you have to fill up your own bucket. And if this is something that you need that you're not getting, having that open communication with your partner to say, hey, look, maybe this is going to help us because I think we're all compatible in all these other ways. And maybe
Mhm.
us doing this can help the other things that maybe we're struggling with.
So if people identify that they're having sexual like challenges connecting with each other, I would say first go to a sex therapist because sometimes, well, I'm we're about the same age. I'm a tad bit older, but like we didn't learn in high school or in college about like how two gay men have sex. Like they talked about like heterosexual sex, and sometimes there are very few spaces where gay men learn how to sexually satisfy each other, and they think going to an open relationship is going to fix it. It's
Yeah.
like, no, let's just do some one-on-one, learning. The only time I say like if you want to open your relationship is if both of you have a relationship with sex, that sex is not a sacred end all be all thing in life. Some people value sex, which is amazing, where like they need to be in love with the person, they need to be married to the person, they
Connected
need
to
to
the
be in a
person.
trusting situation, so then they'll have sex with them.
Because
If you are that person, you do not want to be in an open relationship.
no, it's not gonna give you what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
okay.
And I also think some people think open relationships are just like free for all. Like there are people who are in open relationships where they may close it at times, where like, hey, this year, just gonna be this month, we're gonna be together, no outside guys. So it's when I talk about high level of communication, it's high level of communication.
Yeah, yeah, high level.
Mm. Yeah.
So what got you into to doing this and helping queer men do
Mm.
this, by the way? Like, because obviously,
Yeah.
like you've been doing this for quite some time, and obviously I can see the passion within you. Where did
Mhm.
the journey come from for you to do that? Was this you already in your relationship prior to how long have you been doing it for, and what get you into it?
Right. So my background, I have an undergrad in psychology, I have a master's in professional counseling.
Beautiful.
So for a long time, I was doing couples counseling, primarily with gay men. And I noticed that like these two people should have never been in a relationship. And um, that we as gay men have not been taught how to date, how to argue appropriately, how to flirt, how to like go out and find someone. So I went back to school, got a certification in professional matchmaking and dating coaching, and had to augment the course because, of course, most of the data
I
was
was
for
gonna say it's
heterosexual
offers
people.
for straight people, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, right. So did my own research and started doing this. And one of the things that I love doing is like it's more than the passion is actually seeing the results.
Yeah.
Like when people come up to me and I'm in New York, they're like, hey, I saw some of your content. It really resonated with me. Now I'm with my partner based on some of the things that you talked about.
Oh,
I'm like, there are results, right? Like there are people who are listening, who are struggling, who are okay with being challenged and changing their behaviors so that they can sustain a healthy relationship.
yeah, that's beautiful. And again, when you get someone who comes and tells you that they've had success from that journey, obviously shows that, they're moving in the right direction, finding
Mhm,
those things
mhm.
there. Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. Well, Lamont, thank you for coming on here today and sharing your wisdom. It's been for me. I love talking to other people in the queer community who are doing similar work or who have definitely got a lot of experience in that because it makes me think more as well. Um, is there anything that you've got coming up, or where can people find you and connect with you if they do want to find out more about how they can get a healthy relationship as well for themselves?
Sure. Well, first, I say thank you for the invitation, and I absolutely love what you're doing. Please keep at it. I think you are really helping our community just change their lives. So I'll say bravo to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And then so my website, betterwaytomeet.com. Again, I work with gay men anywhere for dating coaching. Like it doesn't matter how old you are, what your race is. I work with everybody, and I really push people to get the results that they want. I'm on social media, all the platforms, the gay dating coach.
The gay dating coach. And we'll link that website and link to your social media anyway below, so that anyone who's listening, you just have to click below. You don't have to go searching and find the wrong and find the wrong person. But I'm sure there's probably not many the gay dating coaches out there, because I had a quick look and I couldn't see anyone else out there doing what you do as good as you do.
I just Google the short little guy, and the short gay guy. We'll see what pops up. Yeah.
The short gay guy who teaches people how to
I'm
date.
like, damn, that's him.
That's him. That's him. Awesome. Well, again, thank you for coming on, Lamont. It's been a pleasure. And I'll be back here next week with a brand new episode of the Queer Quest podcast. Until then, always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now.
Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey towards love and happiness? Introducing the 21-day Gay Man's Guide to Love and Happiness. This isn't just a course, it's a pathway to discovering your true self, overcoming challenges, and embracing happiness. Join hundreds of gay men who found joy and freedom. Learn from Cristiano Green, a coach with 20 years experience and a journey like yours. For a limited time, get this life-changing course at 75% off with a 100% risk-free guarantee. There's nothing to lose, but so much to gain. Your new life is just a click away. Enroll in the 21-day Gay Man's Guide to Love and Happiness today. Visit theglobalpridecollective.com and start your journey towards a happier, more fulfilled you.